Air around us. Lesson preview. Presence of air. Composition of air. All living things respire. Oxygen cycle. Uses of air. The importance of atmosphere. Air pollution and its control. Air is found everywhere. We all need air to live. But we cannot see it. We can only feel it. Rustling of leaves, swaying of clothes when hanging on clothesline, movement of kite and clouds in the sky, etc. are all made possible due to moving air called wind. When wind blows very strongly, it is called a storm. Storms can uproot trees or even blow off the rooftops. Have you seen a weather vane? It indicates the direction in which the air is moving at that place. Wind helps in the movement of aeroplanes, helicopters, hang gliders, sailboats, and windmills. Presence of air. Activity. Take an empty glass. Hold it upside down. Dip it in a bucket or basin. A. Do you see water entering the glass? Now tilt the glass slightly in the water tub. Do you see bubbles of water coming out of the glass? The bubbles contain air. This shows that air was present in the empty glass. When you turned it upside down, water could not enter the glass as there was no space inside the glass. When the glass was tilted, the air inside the glass escaped out and water could then enter the glass. This activity shows that air occupies space. We cannot see air, though it is present all around us. We can see through it because it is transparent. Our Earth is surrounded by a layer of air called the atmosphere. However, the air gets thinner as we go up. This is the reason mountaineers carry oxygen cylinders while climbing high mountains. 99% of air is found up to a height of 30 km above the surface of the Earth. The atmosphere is held in place due to the Earth's gravity. Composition of air. Joseph Priestley discovered oxygen in 1774 and showed that it was a part of air. This led to the conclusion that air is a mixture of many gases, and not just one substance. The main gases present in the air are nitrogen, about 78% by volume, and oxygen, about 21% by volume. The remaining 1% approximately consists of carbon dioxide, helium, argon, water vapor, smoke, and dust particles. Amount of these components vary from place to place. Let us study about the main components in detail. Oxygen. Activity. Take 2 shallow containers. Fix one small candle in each container. Fill the containers with some water. Light both the candles and cover both of them separately with 2 inverted glasses of unequal sizes as shown in the figure. Observe what happens to the burning candles as well as the level of water in the glasses. The candles burn till there is oxygen in the glass and then they blow out. The candle inside the bigger glass will burn for a longer time as it contains more air and hence more oxygen. Once the candles blow out, water rises in both the glasses. This rise in water should not be associated with the fact that water rises to replace the amount of oxygen used up in the burning of the candles. Carbon dioxide is also released into the air during burning. Nitrogen. In the above activity, it is seen that a large part of air is still present in the glasses even after the candles stopped burning. This indicates that there is some other gas in the air which does not support burning. This gas is nitrogen. It is 4/5 of the total air. You can remove the glass in the above experiment keeping its mouth closed with a plate. Drop a burning matchstick into it. It gets extinguished. This shows that the remaining 4/5 of the air does not support combustion. Water vapor. Activity. Take a glass of water. Add a few ice cubes to it. Let it stand for some time at room temperature. What do you observe after a few minutes? You will see small drops of water on the outer surface of the glass. This is because of the water vapor present in the air that condenses on the cold surface of the glass and forms these drops of water. As we have already learnt in the previous chapter, water vapor in the air plays an important role in the water cycle. The amount of water vapor in the air is called humidity. It varies from place to place and also from time to time. The level of humidity is the highest in the monsoon season. Coastal cities like Mumbai have higher humidity than interior places like Delhi throughout the year. Carbon dioxide. Air contains 0.03% of carbon dioxide. Human beings and animals take in oxygen and give out carbon dioxide during respiration. All plants need oxygen for their survival because without oxygen, they cannot perform cellular respiration. They release oxygen during the process of photosynthesis as a byproduct. During burning, oxygen is used up and carbon dioxide is given out. This is the reason we may feel suffocated if some material is burning in a closed room with no ventilation. Activity. Take some lime water in a dish and keep it uncovered. Observe after 4-5 hours. What do you notice? You will see a milky crust on the surface of the lime water. This is because the carbon dioxide present in the air turns the lime water milky. Dust and smoke. Activity. Observe a beam of light entering your room in the morning. You will see tiny shiny particles dancing in the beam of sunlight. They are dust particles. This shows that air contains dust particles. The amount of dust particles varies from place to place and from time to time. Air also contains smoke. This smoke comes from the vehicles, factories, and burning fire. Dust and smoke are harmful to us. This is the reason a policeman wears mask when regulating traffic, especially in crowded crossings. We must always breathe through the nose. In the nose, there are fine hair and mucus which act as filter and prevent the dust particles from getting into our respiratory system. Thus we have seen that air contains some gases, water vapor, dust and smoke. All living things respire. Air supports life. Oxygen. All living things breathe in oxygen. Oxygen is needed by them to obtain energy from food. As all living things need energy for various life processes, they need to breathe in oxygen continuously. This process of breathing in, obtaining energy from food, and breathing out is called respiration. Living things on land breathe in oxygen present in air. The air we breathe goes into our lungs. Here, the oxygen is absorbed from the air and used up by the body. Animals and plants living in water also breathe. How does oxygen become available to them? Activity. Take some water in a beaker. Heat it gently. Observe the inner surface of the vessel. Do you see tiny bubbles on the inside of the vessel? These bubbles are of air that was dissolved in water. Initially, when we heat water, air dissolved in it escapes. On further heating, water begins to boil and starts evaporating. The bubbles now formed are of steam and not of the air dissolved in water. Thus, plants and animals living in water use the oxygen dissolved in water. Some animals living in water, like whales, come up to the water surface to breathe in oxygen from the air. Others, like fish, breathe in oxygen dissolved in water. Fish have organs called gills, instead of lungs, which absorb dissolved oxygen when water passes over them. Organisms living in soil also need oxygen to respire. How do these animals get it? Plants have small openings called stomata on the undersides of their leaves through which air is taken in. Plants that float in water, for example water lily, have stomata on the upper sides of their leaves. Underwater plants such as tape grass have no stomata. They breathe in dissolved oxygen through their body surface. Plants like mangroves, that grow in waterlogged soil, have roots that grow out of the ground to get air. These roots are called pneumatophores. Nitrogen. Plants need nitrogen for their growth. However, they are unable to absorb nitrogen directly from the air. Nitrogen in the air is brought down to the soil in the form of nitric acid through lightning and rain. Microorganisms in soil and root nodules change it to nitrate compounds, which in turn are absorbed by plants. Nitrogen in the air is also used to produce fertilizers, which are used to provide essential nitrogen to plants. Carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a very important gas for both plants and animals. Plants use carbon dioxide to prepare food. Since humans and animals depend on plants for food, photosynthesis is necessary for the survival of life on Earth. Activity. Take some dry soil in a beaker. Add some water to it. Note what happens. You will see tiny bubbles coming out of the soil. This shows the presence of air in the soil. Organisms living in soil also need oxygen to respire. How do these animals get it? Many animals live in the soil by making burrows and holes deep in the soil. During heavy rains and in rainy season, we see earthworms coming out of the soil. This is because when it rains heavily, water fills up all the spaces occupied by air in the soil. This makes it difficult for them to breathe and they have to come out of their burrows for respiration. Oxygen cycle. How is it that the percentage of oxygen in the air remains the same, though a lot of it gets removed from the air during respiration and combustion? This is because plants produce oxygen during photosynthesis, which is added to air. They also use oxygen for respiration. However, the amount of oxygen produced during photosynthesis is much more than that used up in respiration. The balance of oxygen in the air is maintained by consumption of oxygen through respiration in plants and animals and by its release during photosynthesis. This is called the oxygen cycle. This also shows that plants and animals are interdependent on each other. The oxygen cycle is a delicately balanced process. Large-scale deforestation and excessive burning of fuels can upset this balance and harm all living things. Hence, we need to plant more trees and burn less fuel. Uses of air. Air is useful to us in many ways. Aeroplanes, sailboats, balloons, parachutes, and gliders work in air. Birds, insects, and bats fly due to air. Air helps in the dispersal of seeds. Air helps in the pollination of several flowers. Air helps in winnowing. Air plays an important role in the water cycle. Air is filled in tubes, tiles, and balloons. The wind makes the windmill rotate to draw water from tube wells and also to run flour mills. These days windmills are used to generate electricity. The importance of atmosphere. Atmosphere causes weather changes. When the sun shines brightly, it heats the earth. The air also gets heated. Hot air rises and cold air rushes in to take its place. This is how wind blows. Cyclones and storms occur due to movement of air. The water vapor in the air causes rain and snow to fall. Atmosphere helps to maintain a favorable temperature. The heat and light of the sun falls on the Earth's atmosphere. Some of it is absorbed by the atmosphere, while the rest is reflected back. This prevents the Earth from getting too hot during the day. At night, the heat trapped in the atmosphere prevents the Earth from cooling down too much. The atmosphere, thus, acts like a blanket around the Earth and helps to keep the Earth's surface at the right temperature to sustain life. Ozone layer. The upper atmosphere contains a layer of gas called ozone. Ozone prevents the harmful rays of sun called ultraviolet rays from reaching the Earth's surface. Ultraviolet rays can cause eye defects and skin cancer. Air pollution and its control. Air pollution is the contamination of air by harmful substances called pollutants. The major air pollutants are minute solid particles, dust, smoke, harmful gases such as carbon monoxide, oxides of sulfur and nitrogen. that are given off by combustion of fuels in vehicles, factories, and homes. Air pollution causes various respiratory diseases like asthma and bronchitis. Some ways to control and reduce air pollution are: plant more trees, reuse and recycle waste instead of burning it, use plant and food waste to make compost, use filters in vehicles and factories to stop harmful gases from escaping into the air, reduce burning of fuel as much as possible. Use bicycles and public transport instead of private vehicles as far as possible.